You know those movies that all the critics hate?
It stinks. Hated it.
You actually love them?
I love it, I love it, I love it.
That was awesome.
We know those movies too, and we're gonna give them the love that they deserve. This is The Recount. Okay, and welcome to another edition of The Recount podcast, where we take movies that critics hate and give them a second chance and tell them why we love them. I am one of your hosts, Chris, and let's go around the room.
What's up, everybody? It's Ricky.
Hey guys, it's Ro.
Hi, it's Tara.
Alright, so
Adjusting mic still a little bit.
adjusting your mic still. Alright, so this week we are reviewing one of my personal favorites from when I was a kid. The movie Airborne from 1993. That makes me feel old. Release date September 17th, 1993.
Yeah, this is ancient.
Yeah, right now it'd be ancient. I mean, how old was I? Maybe 8? I was 8.
5?
Yeah. Chris, the old man.
Yeah,
The old man of the bus.
Already on his way to junior high school.
Chris is like, I saw this in the theater. It was a nickel.
Well, I used to watch this movie like almost religiously, I think. I've seen it so many times when I was younger, but probably haven't seen it in at least 10 years.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna go with 15
Yeah, so
years,
I'm
maybe.
I'm definitely interested to get your take after a 10-year break. See how you
yeah, no, I was excited to watch it. Has anybody else seen it before?
I'd seen it, I think, pretty recently, actually, because I'm pretty sure it was on TV like maybe 3 years ago when I watched it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I've never seen this before.
I've definitely seen it before. I didn't remember a lot of things, but like certain scenes and things are like recognized. So I think I saw it, but it's been probably over a decade.
So the movie doesn't have obviously favorable reviews. It's got a 29% on Rotten Tomatoes. It had a 6.2 on IMDb. But it had
bad.
that's not too bad. But it had an audience score of 60, and you know, as I was doing my research, there was a lot of the comments that I read were positive in a way that it was just nostalgic and it's just a fun, cool movie, and people are like, oh, I really love this movie, but I don't know why, like one of those things, which is why I chose it. So it does have a fan following. It stars Shane McDermott as Mitchell.
Which, sorry, have either of you guys seen what he looks like now?
Oh my
No.
god, no.
He's a real estate agent.
Should I
Where?
Google?
In Galveston, Texas.
Yeah, he only did like those 2 movies, but now he looks
And if you go on his
super-
website,
he does not look anything like the
he
California
does
boy from this
not
movie.
look like himself at all. And if you go on his website, it's like there's
Whoa.
different sections. There's one for his real estate, and then one for Airborne, and one for his one other movie, and then he's also like a part-time artist.
Wow, he has a little dog.
He
a
just
white
kind of
house
is a little
on
derpy
the-
looking
on the
now.
lake.
Like, I thought he was gonna grow up to be like cool, handsome.
Yeah.
Long hair type guy.
Yeah, like his character.
He looks super like boring.
Oh,
But anywho,
sorry. Just as soon as you said his name, I remembered his website URL.
Let's play. But one thing I forgot to do it. Let's play the song.
Gotta do the cool
Oh,
90s
Gotta do the
music.
cool
Oh,
intro
yeah.
song. Here it is. Well, that brings
Song was great.
classic
back a lot
90s
of
sound.
yeah.
I envision like guys in satin robes with hoop earrings and like just like a really smooth music video.
Yeah, if only the listeners could see this dance party that just happened.
Yeah, we're all rocking out.
Also with like those silk robes completely open and no shirt on.
Yeah, no shirt, of course not. No
A little oil on the chest
no
and abs.
shoes, blonde hair.
Yep.
Great.
Long hair.
Right. So also in this movie is a young Seth Green,
Mhm.
plays Wiley. Mitchell's cousin, long
The
red
biggest
hair.
hair.
He looks
Chucky
like
hair.
a leprechaun.
He
or
looks like
something. I
Chucky.
don't know.
Yeah, he does kind of look like Chucky-ish.
Also a young Jack Black.
Yeah, did not expect that.
Yeah.
Young-ish, right? Because he's like in class, and I wrote down, "Is Jack Black 30?" Question mark.
Yeah,
Like, he just looks
he's
so
Billy
old.
Madison.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also had down here that I think they're all older than
Yeah.
16, 17.
For sure.
Jack is
So-
100% not a teenager.
Yeah, he's at least like
Nikki's
22.
brother.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Jack is definitely like a parent at the school.
Yeah.
Jack, who's played by Chris Conrad, who's like the, I guess, semi-antagonist kind of bully.
Yeah,
You know,
starts
but-
off that way at
Yeah.
least.
And I loved him in The Next Karate Kid.
I loved him in Party of Five.
That's not the same person.
No, I kept thinking that was
Thinking
Scott,
of-
Scott
You
Wolf.
think he looks
Scott
like Scott
Wolf.
Wolf?
Yeah, right?
A little bit. He could be a cousin of Scott
Like just
Wolf.
like the steroided up version.
Also, Brittany Powell as Nikki, who is Mitchell's love interest.
Yep.
Never really seen much of her after this. I mean, I can't say.
No, I don't.
And I didn't really do
recognize her.
much research into
I
what
feel like
else
I've
she's
seen
been in.
her somewhere else before, but nothing big.
And then the aunt and uncle, Aunt Irene, played by Edie McClurg, and Uncle Louis, played by Patrick O'Brien.
Which
Uh-huh.
is
They've
who
definitely been
which-
around.
who was
Yeah.
Mr. Dewey
Mr.
in
Dewey
Saved
from
by the
Saved by the
Bell,
Bell.
and I was dying, and he was literally the same character,
right.
weird
He's
and
still very
awkward.
goofy.
Yeah,
Also Snake, played by Jacob
Yeah,
Vargas.
yeah, he's had a
Amy
long
from the
career.
Selena
Amy,
movie.
yes.
Sure.
Yeah, well, he's been in a ton of stuff.
Yeah, and also directed by Rob Bowman, who directed 33 episodes of The X-Files, also the X-Files movie in 1998, Reign of Fire, Elektra. So sorry about that.
He literally took a left
And,
from Airborne.
yeah.
Like none of these titles
And
have
o-
anything to do with like the genre
Right.
of
And-
Airborne.
And also 28 episodes of the show Castle, which I've never
Mm.
seen, but I heard is good.
Yeah. Just by the way, I looked up what else Nikki's been in. She's been in a lot of stuff, but just like very small roles, like an episode of, or 3 episodes of Xena, Warrior Princess, 2 episodes of Beverly Hills, 90210.
That's where I saw
Just like
her.
random, really random stuff. And like to this day, she's still really good at small stuff. But anywho.
Wait, and then I also texted Tara because I had like a coming to moment when I finally realized that the girl who plays Gloria, who's Wiley's love interest, is the same girl from Sister Act, which I was like, okay, fine. And then I'm like, wait, she's also the same person from Legally Blonde.
You're the worst.
I like never connected that those were the same 2 people.
She's in every '90s movie in some
Yeah.
capacity.
Really? I don't remember her much. She just reminded me of Topanga for some reason.
She's in the Brady Bunch movie.
I think she looks like Topanga.
Just, I think it was
Topanga?
mostly the hair
She just has big
from
hair.
Boy Meets World.
She looks more like Brittany Murphy when she was Ty and Clueless.
Yeah.
But
The
not-
redhead.
Definitely not.
Oops.
Thanks, ESPN.
Who's winning?
Sponsored by ESPN. This
Oh
episode.
God, we wish.
Yep,
Literally
we sure do. One day.
Yeah.
So
Just sponsoring a movie podcast for some reason.
all right, so as we get into what this movie is actually about, Mitchell Goosen is around 16 or 17, even though we all know that's a lie.
Yeah.
He's an extreme sports enthusiast living in California, and he definitely has that California surfer mentality and look.
Laid back.
Laid back, just loves the beach, loves the sun, loves the ocean, doesn't care about anything else. Pretty much what we on this side of the country think that Californians live like. This movie was also made at a time where roller skating and rollerblading was like all the buzz.
Yeah.
Which-
My biggest takeaway from this movie is that I want a pair of rollerblades and I want to go to the botanical gardens and skate around.
This movie is potentially the film that made me want to rollerblade because I do recall a period of my life where I was heavy into rollerblading. I could like go down the stairs and I could do tricks and I was really
Nice.
really good. And I drove my sister crazy. I think I took them off the day that she like flipped out on me because I would come home from school and just throw my like blades on and roll around the house.
Throw
and
all
roll
the
around
blades.
house all
Too.
day. I drove my whole family crazy. But maybe this movie inspired me.
This or
It's
Brink?
possible.
I-
Brink,
I-
possibly.
When I was doing my research, Brink was brought up a lot. I've never seen it, so
What
I
year is
think I'm
Brink?
going to check it out.
What year
Around
is
the
Brink?
same time, I
Before or after, same time?
It's funny, Tara, because you said you could go up and down the stairs, and Ro was like, "How do people go up the stairs like that?" Down
Up
the
is harder,
stairs.
but down is like not hard at all.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I was on rollerblades.
Oh, Brink was way
Me
later,
neither,
1988.
Oh, okay. I would go on rollerblades again. I'd probably fall.
It's a lot of work. I
You guys
tried
want
doing
to
that recently.
want to do
and it wasn't
foursies,
fun.
rollerblading in the park?
Oh my
Let's do
god.
it.
Okay, we're going to Toys R Us after this and pick up some blades.
So Mitchell, his parents are zoologists, I guess, and
It's really cool.
they tell him that they're going to Australia to study the wombat for 6 months, and he thinks he's going with them, but they tell him, no, you can't be out of school that long, so you're going to Cincinnati of all places.
Yeah, and when they say Australia, and his eyes light up.
His
like,
eyes lit up. He's
surfing
like, oh, yeah,
heaven,
surfing heaven, and
Sheila's, blonde Sheila's that he can pick
yeah.
up.
Has anybody here ever tried surfing?
No,
No.
Would anybody? Because I wouldn't.
I don't
No.
think so.
Um,
I would try it.
I've done boogie
I
boarding.
doubt I'd be able to stay up for long.
I'm too afraid that a shark will get me, so I wouldn't do it.
Oh
just
yeah, I
don't
wouldn't.
wanna
I wouldn't
break
do
any
it like way
bones.
out in the ocean or anything.
Yeah.
Just maybe close to the shore.
I'll pass.
And I can't swim, so that doesn't help me either.
Yeah, no.
Oh, man.
You probably should not.
But he has to go to Cincinnati to stay with his aunt and uncle and his cousin. And, he arrives there with his snowboard. He says he never travels without his stick, as I guess that's the slang for surfboard.
Mhm.
Did you notice how they just put his surfboard like straight on the conveyor belt, like no case? Just like,
Yeah, like-
okay,
like
let
that
me just
should've-
put this in here.
Are you allowed to travel with a surfboard?
Maybe not
Yeah,
anymore.
Yeah,
in a
have to.
case, but not like that.
Like, where would that even go on a plane? Do you put it, like, do you check
Check
that?
it, yeah.
It's like how people do that with their guitars.
Wait, we should also say your uncle owns a surfboard company, right?
Oh yeah.
That's pretty interesting.
Oh, yeah?
But you've never surfed.
Yeah, no, I have no interest.
Well, your uncle should have sponsored this episode.
I'll let them know.
And this is where I assume he doesn't meet his aunt and uncle for the first time, but it's definitely been a
It's
long
been a
time.
long
Yeah,
time.
she
They
said that
should-
it's
The
been
last
like
time
they were in
together,
diapers.
they were in diapers.
Right. So, I guess as far as him meeting his cousin Wiley, it was the first time for them.
I also
Yeah, pretty
couldn't
much.
tell who was the biological aunt or uncle. Like, I couldn't tell if the mom was a sister to one of his parents. Like, I couldn't tell. I think it was her, the aunt,
Yeah, I would
She
think
seemed
it
to
was
be,
the
like,
mom.
very much in his face, and like she was like licking her hands and like fixing his hair. I was like, she's doing a lot.
Hmm.
So maybe she was the biological aunt.
Another thing that I was thinking about is his parents said they were going to Australia. They didn't say where, and Australia is pretty big, so it's not
Right.
like every place in Australia you can go and it'll be surfing heaven. So
Right.
he got a little ahead of himself there.
I would go to Australia.
I would.
For 6 months? No. Their
Mm.
animals are their insects are the size of this room.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely have a lot of animal
And
issues
they're all
down there.
venomous. I just have no time.
Except for kangaroos.
But they're still
Who will
dangerous.
kick the shit out
Yeah.
of you.
Slice your neck open with their
Seen a lot of
claws.
kangaroo videos lately. And that guy punched that kangaroo in the face.
Brolic-ass kangaroo.
Yeah. So that guy's kind of lucky. The kangaroo didn't tear him apart.
Boxing.
The video just cut short.
I put down here that something that I thought was funny because Tara was extremely annoyed by Mitchell and his surfboard. I think Tara did not like Mitchell at all.
Well, I just thought it was obnoxious to go to Cincinnati
With your surfboard.
with your surfboards,
Yeah,
like,
it's
and he's like
stupid.
in the house. It's, like, they can't fit in the house. Like, it's like, I understand that you love it, but there's nowhere to surf in Cincinnati. It was literally snowing when he arrived. It's like, I just thought it was a lot. He was kind of annoying.
Yeah. I think it was just more so to push the point that he's fish out of water.
Right.
So Mitchell wasn't like the dreamy guy that they made him out to be for you, even when you were younger and saw it.
I'm sure I thought he was attractive when I was younger, but as an adult, he just annoyed me.
And speaking of being
Wiley?
dreamy, being attractive. Yeah, Wiley, for sure.
And then we go to the opposite side of the
Go to the
spectrum.
opposite side. Mitchell goes to school for the first time, and this is where we get to see all the other characters, Augie, Jack Black during roll calls. And the first thing that Mitchell does when he walks into class to introduce himself is he throws up the peace sign.
And the whole class,
And the whole class is just
erupts
like,
with
yeah.
disgust.
And they're just all disgusted. Like,
that was
who
a funny.
is
That
this
was
guy?
a truly funny
So
moment.
It's a funny scene.
lame.
Yeah, I think, honestly, I would say I would have reacted the same way. Like, oh, here we go. Like, it's fucking Californian
Mm-hmm.
with his nonsense.
Rah.
Bruh.
Brah.
Yeah, and see, Wiley is he's the type that desperately tries to just fit in with everybody, and has no friends, and he's just like, yeah, I play hockey and I'm great, and you find out later on that he's not good at all.
He's like, Nintendo hockey.
I say in the first scene where we meet Wiley, like, he seems cool. Like, he seems like he's on his own, doing his own thing with the beatnik type outfit, and then they go into the basement. He's got like this cool setup, but then he gets to school and he's just like, nobody knows him.
I was
Nobody
never
knows
fooled.
It's not even like he gets picked on because nobody even knows who he is.
I was
No,
never
he did
fooled.
say that.
He's like, I'm the Wiley man. Everybody knows me. Like, who are you?
Exactly. What happened?
The one guy said, like, you look familiar, and he's like, yeah, you flushed my head in the urine.
And so we meet Jack and Augie.
Jose Augusto Rafael de la Parra. Everyone just calls me Augie, though.
The most ridiculous name.
He does not look like a Jose.
He doesn't look like
what?
Jose. But I love that scene too, where he's just like, I like to sleep and play Nintendo and sleep, which Tara said was me.
Yep. Perfect.
And you can see that all of the guys are, just want to puke at the sight of Mitchell, but all the girls are absolutely in love with him. And there's
a
one
little
that's
ridiculously
actually
the-
licking her
yeah.
lips, watching
And
him.
while her boyfriend is because Jack is one of the girls' boyfriend, and
Yeah.
she's literally licking her lips, like
Picturing him
shirtless, like doing the most.
And they do that little, I guess, daydream scene for Jack when it's clear that his girlfriend is attracted to Mitchell.
Mhm.
And he gets up and takes Mitchell and throws him out the window.
Yeah.
a very Scrubs type of
Scrubs
daydream
moment, yeah.
thing.
Which I was like, wow, this is supposed to be a kids movie. That's a little over the top, but
Mhm.
Now he's dead.
yeah, definitely funny.
I think I like this scene because it shows the huge difference, which I think still exists to this day, between East Coast people and West Coast people. Like, they were not here for he was smiling, he was positive, he was like
Yeah,
easy breezy.
he was saying weird things.
Yeah, he was just like so.
Like
Yeah, he went up to the class to do his speech,
right.
and it didn't make any. I was like, what did he just say?
He said he's like, I just love the waves. Like, I don't care about school. I just love the purple something. I don't know.
The
He was
purple
just-
sunset.
Purple
Purple
sunsets
sunset.
and
Like, he was just like
salt
ridiculous,
water
like,
in his
gag.
face.
Like, I wanted to gag listening to his spiel.
He said he was styling. He called it a liquid Drano wannabe Bullwinkle, whatever that means.
Yeah, what? And Jack Black was like, I think he got a little Drano in his juice or something.
And they didn't even know what styling was. He was like, let me tell you what styling is. And
The whole scene is awkward.
when class is over, well, even before that, when it's Jack's turn, he's like, you want to play a real sport, play hockey. And I found it interesting watching it now as I'm older that they would use extreme sports with one character, and the guy's like, oh, surfing's not a sport. You want to play a real sport, play hockey. And hockey is one sport that is just not. I mean, it's popular, but not really in this country. So I just found that funny.
So is hockey big in Cincinnati?
I guess it's just big, like, in
It's
probably
big in
the
certain.
Midwest.
Yeah, it's certain states it's big. I know, like Minnesota. So definitely the Midwest, it's bigger.
Yeah.
The closer to Canada you are.
Right. But I mean, if they were to come to New York and be like, play hockey, everybody would laugh at me. So,
Yeah.
but one of my favorite parts is when class is over and Jack kind of stops Mitchell at the door. And I forget what he says, but Mitchell says, chill, brah. And Augie goes, did he just call you a piece of women's undergarments? And I just die laughing every time. I just think that's funny.
I think he said it a second time. He's like,
Yeah.
he did it
He
again.
did it again. And that's in the hallway now. When before that, they were talking about playing the preps in the hockey game. And then two guys put something in the teacher's... They messed with a teacher and got detention, so they couldn't play. So they recruited Wiley to fill in, which
Well,
was a
didn't
big
they-
mistake.
They recruited first Snake.
They got Snake first,
Yeah, and
right?
then they
Or
got
Snake
Wiley.
volunteered.
He volunteered,
Yeah,
and he was like, I'll play. And then they got Wiley to play, which was a big mistake, because it's clear that Wiley doesn't even know how to be on ice skates. And then Mitchell meets Nikki in the stands,
Mm-hmm.
which we don't know right away is actually Jack's sister.
Yep.
Spoiler
And
alert.
I thought their interaction was very realistic. Like
Mhm.
it
Yeah, it was
wasn't
just
like
cute.
yeah, like like in movies they do like these super overt like flirty like flirtatious interactions that just
Yeah.
don't happen in real life. I thought their conversation was really organic and
He was really smooth.
yeah, like I feel like they weren't even flirting at
Yeah, I
first.
was
It
say
was, like,
they weren't
legit.
trying. Like
yeah.
they were just like happened to be talking to each other from being next to each other.
Yeah, so I like that. That it wasn't forced.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's definitely like an instant chemistry between them. And one thing that I picked up on, I mean, I kind of knew it from when I've seen it before, but I remember Tara, you asked me like, what is the underlining message to like this movie? Like, you felt like this movie was made for no reason. And one thing that I said was that it's about Mitchell and his desire to never fight anyone because it doesn't prove anything. And he tells the story to Nikki that because he tells her that Jack is going to kill him, and she's like, "Why don't you fight back?" And he's like, tells a story about how there's this kid in California that used to beat up everyone that got on his waves, and one day he got too close to a kid and hurt him pretty bad.
Yeah.
So, well, what happened to the surfer? Oh, he's living in Cincinnati. So that was a little backstory about getting deeper into Mitchell's character.
Why he's so mellow.
Why
Right.
he's so mellow. So he's definitely had a change of heart at some point.
Do you think like he intentionally hit the dude with his surfboard, or
No,
it was
Well,
he
he
said-
says he got too
yeah.
close.
He said he was
Yeah.
trying to scare him
Yeah.
off, and the thing of like the spike on his surfboard.
right? But I'm
hit the
saying, do you
kid.
think Mitchell like did it on purpose, and that's why he doesn't fight now because he hurt somebody so bad?
No, I think he just was trying to scare him off, and then he got hurt more than he anticipated. So he probably just figured this is all so pointless.
Mhm.
You
Yep.
know what though? Like in that same conversation, I felt like part of the message behind the movie too was kind of a be yourself kind of deal.
Yeah.
Right.
I noticed that a lot because I felt like he really stood out, and everyone kind of made it seem like, who is this outsider, and he still kind of stayed true to that. And then you see that in parts with Wiley later on where he's trying to get dressed up, and I won't get too much
Yeah.
into it, but that
Wiley's
seems to be the
constantly
message.
trying to change his
Yeah.
persona, his outfits, his personality to
fit in.
fit in, and Mitchell just does not care.
And I think also another answer to the bigger question of like why was this movie made? I think it was because it was around the time that like X Games was getting really popular and,
Yeah.
and rollerblading at that time, so that probably just helped with this exact story or plot, because the rollerblading in this movie is pretty sick.
Yeah, it is.
Like, I don't know much about rollerblading, but it was fun to watch.
Impressive. Yeah, it was impressive.
The downhill and like through the botanical garden, that would be sick to do that.
For sure. So that he's sitting at the hockey game between the preps and I don't know what the other kids call themselves. I don't know what you would call them.
Public school kids.
Right, public school kids against the preps, and Wiley gets hurt. He gets taken out, and they get Mitchell to fill in. And Mitchell clearly doesn't know what hockey is, and scores an own goal,
Yikes.
and costs Jack and the team the game. And then Jack just spears the shit out of Mitchell.
Which is a big deal because Jack is a senior,
Jack's
and,
a
and
senior,
they've never
right.
ever
They've
beat
never
this
beaten.
team.
Yeah, they've never beaten the preps, and that's what he wants to do before he graduates.
Mm.
And Mitchell ruined that chance for him, at least at that point. And Jack just speared the hell out of him and just knocked him out,
Yeah, he was out there for a while.
which was unnecessary. I felt.
That's dangerous too. Like he really could have hurt him. He like speared the shit out of
His
him.
head like smacked against the
yeah.
concrete,
Yeah.
and then
Or
everybody
ice.
was standing over him like in Friday. You
Right,
got
just-
knocked the fuck out.
And from there, it goes into the next day, and Mitchell is not worried about any type of retaliation. Wiley clearly is. And then that's when they start pranking both Mitchell and Wiley.
These
And
scenes
one
are
of
great.
the more fun parts of the movie.
The best part was that they walk in and everyone's like, "Hey guys, how's it going?" Like being all nice to them, and I was like, "Oh, they're about to get it."
Right, and the first thing they do, he sits in his chair, and they must have sawed it in half because it just falls apart.
Then they put sand in his locker.
They put, what was it, like honey or something
Or
really
glue.
glue on
His lock.
Wiley's
Wi-
lock.
Wiley's
and
lock,
at
yeah.
the foot of his locker.
They poured water on the toilet paper while
He was pooping.
Mitchell was in the bathroom.
Stole their clothes while they were showering.
Yeah.
Which who showers at school?
Right. And he was the only one in there, so it clearly wasn't like a gym period, like where everyone was in there.
They stole his clothes, but he came out in like what I guess you could tell was like makeshift clothes. Like, whose Jordans did he steal? Like, he came out in like these
Jordans, a mesh shirt.
a mesh shirt, and like basketball shorts. I'm like, whose shit did you take?
Probably like it looked like football equipment. Like it looked like he had like something with big shoulders and
like a practice jersey or something.
None of which would be acceptable in today's schools. Somebody would definitely get in trouble for all those pranks that they pulled on.
And he actually left the bathroom without wiping himself, and, and they show the scene where he's walking, and he's like, I'm like, oh my god, he didn't wipe.
He's got wet shoes and a nasty butt. Wet
butt. Swamp ass for sure.
Mud butt.
Mud butt. And when he goes home, and he's clearly had a rough week of being pranked, and he just kind of leans up against the wall and plops himself down, and his aunt thinks that he's on drugs. And I don't know. And Irene was fun to me. She was funny.
Yeah, she
just
was.
One of those over the top, overprotective.
What's she from?
I also found her annoying.
But yeah, I feel like she plays the same character in every movie.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't she the mom from Bobby's World?
That's what it sounds like. Very, very Midwest.
It
sounds
like she had a
exactly
similar accent.
I think that's.
But I feel like I've seen her.
Oh yeah, she's been in a ton of stuff.
Yeah, she does a lot of voiceover. Oh, she was in Ferris Bueller.
Oh,
yep.
that's
She's the
right.
secretary.
Yep.
Okay. Right, so then Mitchell gets his rollerblades in the mail. I don't know who sent them to him.
Yeah, that scene was weird to me. I don't know. Did I go get a drink or something? What happened?
The aunt was like, "Oh, you've got a big package on top of your bed." He's like, "Something I should have never left behind." And then he puts on his rollerblades.
Did he have his parents send it? Like where?
Or maybe his friend or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like he almost forgot that rollerblading existed up until this point.
He's like, "I'll burn my surfboard, but not my rollerblades."
All right, so then we see his rollerblading skills a little bit, and then he meets up with Nikki at the
botanical garden.
Yeah, the botanical gardens.
Greenhouse thing.
Shows off a little bit.
Shows off a little bit, and we see their connection, and they kind of blossom, and their attraction is growing stronger as he gets thrown out of the botanical garden for skating around there.
That would be so much fun.
My favorite part though is like then they're taking really long to leave each other, and she like somehow the bus magically waits for her. It's like a public bus, and I'm like, I wish that bus would just drive off because that's what would have happened.
I love the conversation where she is like, "You want to hang out tomorrow? I know a great restaurant. There's good food and lots of people."
That's literally her description.
Why do you describe a restaurant by the amount of people that's there? Like, how does that make it more fun?
I guess that's small town. I don't know. Is it a small town where they are?
I think they're in the city.
Well, it's Cincinnati, but
suburbs,
suburbs of Cincinnati, I guess.
I mean, but every restaurant has people.
It doesn't determine the quality of the restaurant.
And then we go into a nice montage with Mitchell skating after that. And you see all the kids following him around town, and he's doing all these crazy tricks, grinding down the rail, jumping over things.
Super 90s.
At a skate park doing that half pipe, which I'm safe to assume that wasn't him doing all that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, I guess it's
I mean, there was some shots where it was continuous. Like they showed him coming, and then they turned around, and
right.
So I think he could do a little bit at least, like go up a half
maybe he had some training on it. But growing up in Staten Island, I've never seen things like this.
Like a skate park?
Like a skate park,
really?
Like half pipes. Never seen it before. Only in movies.
That's pretty
Yeah,
interesting.
I don't think I've seen one in real life before.
Yeah.
They weren't around a lot, but like I remember when we were probably in like middle school, they started to build one in my town park.
I remember like when I lived in Puerto Rico, my uncles would try and make like a little ramp out of plywood, and you can pay me to go over it. So it was like there's a coconut holding something.
With like a bike or something?
With like rollerblades or a bike.
Oh.
Yeah. It was just like a makeshift one. I was like, yeah, no, I gotta not be near this. Never saw
They are out there, guys.
I'm sure.
Once we start with our rollerblading, we'll go check it out.
We'll find one. So Mitchell's getting ready for his double date. He was supposed to go on a date with Nikki, and he's like, I forgot, I gotta hang out with Wiley. Like, well, I have a friend. And we get into, I know Rose's favorite part, when he's surfing on the bed. Right?
Oh god, I hated that part.
I don't remember that part.
I don't remember
He
it
was
at
like
all.
fake surfing on the bed the whole time. And then the best part is that he's like really truly imagining that he's surfing, so he does like a flip on the bed. Like he gets knocked
He's
off
so
the weight.
weird.
He's like, I don't know what I'm gonna wear, and he's like, well, let's see what you got. And
Enter
just
montage.
Enter
of-
montage of the most ridiculous outfits.
But also, I noticed that Mitchell, like, he says, let's see what you got, while Wiley is, like, still in the shower. And he sits down in the chair. So that means that he waited the entire time for Wiley to dry himself off, dry his hair, get dressed in that first outfit, and come out. And he was still sitting in that chair.
All while
and there were no-
Right Said Fred is playing.
And there were
Right.
there were no cell phones, so he had
Yeah,
nothing
he
to do
was
while he was
just
doing
sitting
this.
like, staring straight ahead.
Weird.
The first outfit was like a motorcycle.
Yeah, with the helmet and
They had so many outfits for this
I was
scene.
so distracted by his ugly hair that I can't even recall
It
any of the
also
outfits.
doesn't even look like, so you know how you think of him now, you know, even in Austin Powers where he had like the spiky hair. I don't remember him having this much hair. Like, did he
Is it
just
a wig?
No, I think it was his hair, but I'm like, is his hair like maybe curly and he like blow
Blow
dried
dried
it
it,
out where
yeah.
it seems like just so much more hair, because it literally is the most hair I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's like a helmet of hair.
Yeah, and it's like sticks straight
And
out.
it's so
it kind of sticks
thick.
out like a tree.
He
Yeah.
must have had some kind of perm or something.
Yeah, it was not attractive.
No.
And that's why the girl didn't want to go out on a date with him.
Poor Gloria.
right. But I mean, Mitchell's hysterically laughing at every outfit that Wiley comes out in.
He had the
Which
d- he
they,
had
I
the-
mean, they are really
They are
The denim
they're really-
cowboy.
the denim cowboy, and
the,
I don't know
the
what he-
Scottish like
the
ska band that guy. or
Yeah,
something like
a
that.
just-
hip hop outfit.
yeah,
Then he like does his hair. And he has like 3 ponytails, like 2 on the side.
Oh,
with
his
it.
Yeah.
Seattle.
And he had hair like Cynthia.
grunge? Was
like,
that
yeah,
grunge?
like the Cynthia doll from
Yeah.
Rugrats. And he looked awful.
Cynthia,
He was
she's
a really cool
good
dancer.
Yeah, he literally had that, and I really liked the way he was like doing that dance move that the Seattle punk kids do, where they kind
Can
of
you
show us? Oh, yeah.
Can you show
swing
us?
their arms around. Look it up on YouTube, guys.
And this is where the message that you were referring to earlier comes in, where Mitchell tells him, Popeye, you know why he's a great man? Because his motto is, I am what I am. It's basically telling Wiley, just be yourself, and she'll either like you or she won't.
Right,
Yeah,
because
but-
he's like wearing all these crazy outfits
Right.
that don't
But-
fit his personality.
A real learning moment for us.
I think the message is great, but it's kind of, I think it's a bit much for a teenage audience. Teenagers, they don't have the capacity to, you know, I mean, obviously if you're more you have the teenagers that are more mature, but for the most part, high school is the time where you're finding yourself, and all you want to do is belong. So I think it's a good message, but it's easier said than done. I don't think it's necessarily super easy to not care about what people think when you're in high school.
No, yeah, I think it was more so like try and be comfortable with who you are, because you're gonna be nervous the whole time, hoping that someone likes this fake version of you, which was what seemed like Wiley was doing. Like he's always just thinking too much.
Wiley's
Right.
definitely
Just
doing
trying-
too
trying
much
too
all
hard.
the time. He's
Yeah,
Trying too hard.
like every day he's a new person.
But
you
then
can
we,
just tell everything he says is like half lie.
And that was symbolically shown to us through all of his outfits.
yep,
It was also when he came into the classroom and said hockey's his life, and he's been playing forever, and he's like it's all he's ever known. And then they put him on the ice, and he had no idea what to do. He's clearly a liar.
He
And-
did clarify Nintendo hockey.
Nintendo hockey.
So
And also in the restaurant where he's like, oh, I love this play. I come here all the time. They have to put
Oh,
up a
yeah.
cot for me. And Gloria says, I've never seen you there.
See, he's a liar.
he's like, nah, I'm here Tuesdays. I come really late.
Tuesdays.
Like he's just such a liar. Like shut up, just be normal.
The double date, we see Mitchell and Nikki getting along. They have their first kiss. And Wiley, even trying to be himself, Gloria's just not interested.
Nope.
Until he stands up for her. And when they're in the restaurant and in comes Blaine.
Blaine
Oh
from
my
the
God,
prep.
What a
Blaine,
preppish name.
I hate him.
Blaine.
Blaine.
Yeah.
Blonde Blaine.
I was calling him Girly Boy the whole time.
Right. Blaine is the leader of the preps with his friend. I don't even know what his friend's name was. But clearly his friend was the Augie of the preps.
Right.
I mean, he was just awful, an awful
Right.
character.
And hinted towards him being an ex-boyfriend of Nikki's.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Who
pretty
Right.
much what
who
they
she recently
established.
broke
Right.
up with.
Right. And
Like she made her choice.
right. and he gets a little too touchy-feely with them.
Both of them.
And
He picks
both
up
of them,
Gloria,
yeah, he picks up
too.
Gloria first, and
I mean,
that's when Wiley sticks
borderline
up.
sexual harassment
Yeah.
in the middle of a restaurant.
Yeah.
Which apparently no one works in, because that scene was really long and never did like an owner or waitress
Security
say
guard.
like, "Hey, stop it."
Yeah, I was
Wow.
one. I was like, "Where's the owner?"
Guy
Of, like somebody working there.
assaulting
Yeah.
these two women.
Like, get
and
the hell
everyone's
out of
just
my
like,
Get the
restaurant.
hell out of here! Especially when Wiley tries to stick up for Gloria and they push him up against the wall.
Oh,
Really
He
hard.
just crumples down.
really hard too.
He's like, "Let her go." Boom.
And then he grabs Nikki, and Mitchell doesn't really do as much as Wiley tried to do, but
Yeah,
he's trying
I
to
felt
just
like
talk
that
him out of
too.
it. Because he's very Zen-like.
He's very Gandhi-esque.
Yeah, he mentions Gandhi a bunch of times.
So
It's
much.
clear that he likes Gandhi. But then in comes Jack and all his buddies, and that's when it gets serious, and Blaine just kind of leaves. But then we find out, or at least Mitchell finds out, that Nikki is Jack's sister.
And he also hurts her feelings by saying, like, in his defense to Jack, who obviously wanted to fight, he's like, I don't care about this town, I don't care about people here, this school. He's like, I'm here for 3 more months, and I'm out of here. I'm going back to California. And obviously, Nikki hears this and is devastated at the fact that he's basically saying she's a temporary kind of fix, and he could
Right.
care less about her and their relationship that is currently budding.
Right, and that's when Jack
It's
kind
got
of
an expiration date.
Right. Jack gets in his face because he's trying to take Nikki home, and Mitchell's like, "Oh, don't worry, I'll have it back before dawn," like playing games.
Right.
Like, how come everything's such a joke with you? And he wants to fight him. And I think Mitchell finally shows his frustration with everything that they put him through, by saying, none of, you're not worth it. Nobody is. I'll be out of here soon. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Which he doesn't intend to hurt Nikki's feelings, but it's also true.
Right. So I
Right.
think it was like inadvertently hurt her. Like it was not like you think that he's saying that about her. She
Right.
just is like, damn. This
I think it
sucks.
was more of like a realization
Yeah.
slash maybe
Yeah.
she was a slash offense.
And Wiley was hurt by it too.
right because
Yeah.
he's like, we just got so close this whole time.
And he wanted Mitchell to punch Jack or Blaine in the face and do something. He's
Right.
like, you're supposed to be tough.
Well, even I wanted him to punch Blaine. He was terrible.
Blaine definitely deserved it. He deserved a good ass kicking.
Sometimes you just gotta
I
throw
also
a punch.
can't. I also found it weird that he was there for 3 months at that point.
Yeah, I thought that was a
It
little.
was very quick.
Yeah, I was like,
Very
oh,
quick.
Like he's been there for 3 months. Okay.
And Mitchell tells Wiley when they're outside, he's like, I used to think fighting solved things, but it doesn't, which is,
True.
yeah, it's true, and it's more into Mitchell's character, at least his past,
Right.
and another message about how fighting is not good and, doesn't solve any problems, just creates more. So there's definitely some underlying tones here, trying to, send a message to children, I guess. But, so after that, Mitchell's relationship is estranged with everybody. Nikki and Wiley, until he has a dream about Peppy the shark, which I think is a funny name for a shark.
Peppy.
It's like I guess a realization from Mitchell on what he has to do. He says that Jack is the shark and Nikki's the wave in his dream, and the shark is telling him, stay off my wave. And then he goes and meets up with them at, they're all playing hockey in a park, and decides he wants to play to kind of, I guess, prove himself, redeem
yeah.
himself. Pretty nice move to score a goal
Yeah,
on the
he took on
preps.
the whole
Yeah.
team.
Took on the whole team, and then Blaine.
Suddenly he knows how to control hockey
Now,
stick
now he
and-
knows how to play hockey.
Movie magic yet again.
Yep.
And Blaine takes him out, spears him down, but once again Mitchell won't throw a punch. Instead, he decides he's going to pants Blaine, and
Oh.
for whatever reason, Blaine is wearing a cup with no underwear, which has to be extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah,
And everyone saw his butthole.
Everyone
Yeah.
saw it.
So
straight into it.
Literally.
And then he doesn't pull his pants up. He tries to skate away with his pants down and falls.
And he also never let go of the stick, of the hockey stick. So I'm like, pull your pants up. Like, drop the stick, pull your pants up. It was so weird.
And then everyone thought
And then they chase him.
so
Yep.
funny. No, but didn't they all like him or think he was so hilarious?
Who?
Oh no, wait. I think that we find that out after.
Right, well, that's the next scene when
They all come to
they
his
all
house.
come to his house, and they accept him now because of what he did. All it took was for him embarrassing Blaine in front of everybody.
Yeah, it's like we tortured you for 3 months. You should have just pantsed him sooner.
Also annoy me. Like, how dare you come to my house? You've been torturing me. for months. Like, if you think it was cool, great. Send me an email.
Get the fuck out.
But do not come to my house. Like, are you kidding me? I hate all of you.
Yeah.
Right, and they asked Mitchell to help them win a race against the preps. They've been challenged to a race on Devil's Backbone.
Which already sounds like something
Which
I'm not
literally
interested in.
was Devil's Backbone. First of all, it was like 30 miles long.
It went
I don't
through.
know how
It went through residential. Went through like park. It was like
City,
I don't know how they
highway.
all remember this course too.
Yeah, that's what I
Ridiculous.
said too. Like, how do they know where to go? But I read that it was filmed in both Ohio and Kentucky, that scene, and they just edited it to make it look like it was one place, but it wasn't filmed all on one location.
That's interesting. They'd have to go. I guess.
I mean, it was
Ohio and
so-
Kentucky are not that far.
No. It was so dramatic. Like, you watch everybody going down, you can kind of, first I couldn't tell who's in front, who's in back,
Right.
and who's on whose team. But then you start noticing it gets a lot more dangerous. Like, someone gets pinned under a car.
I remember gasping really loud when they like they told him to hold hands, and they like
Flung him-
catapulted,
flung
like
him
they
forward.
flung him forward, and the car came, and he like went up.
Yeah.
I was like,
Jumped
I was
over
like,
the
oh
car.
my god! I was like, damn, like they're
I can
crazy.
do
That was
though.
intense.
Like, what are you proving? All of them could have died.
Yeah, and then there's one turn where they're next to like a house where all these old people are on the porch. And this one kid goes flying through their front porch.
Then two of them hurt themselves because they can't stop.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Well, that
literally
was
just going to a
Wiley and Blaine's friend. They were like,
Yeah.
they couldn't, they didn't know how to
Literally
skate, so they were just like,
literally just went flying into a tree.
Right.
Oh, and then
Um,
Jack Black flies into a tree and hits his
it
nuts.
hits his nuts. Yeah.
So he he was
After
out. He
saving-
was out of the game.
After saving Mitchell
Gained blood
because
from
they
him.
were definitely trying to take Mitchell out.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, one thing that I didn't notice in the past watching it was when they're trying to recruit Mitchell and they're like, we're tired of the preps and we're tired of them making us feel like we're trash. And that's where I kind of put together that, okay, the preps are the rich kids and these kids are all just like middle low class.
Yeah.
And so it was like your typical poor
Class war.
class war type of thing. And
But I also find it weird that the rich preppy kids would even bother playing street hockey with these kids. Like,
It's just Hollywood shit because rich kids never interact
I was
with
like, they
broke
would
kids.
never
Right.
come. They would never come to the hood and do this street hockey with these kids from the public school. Like, it's just something that I just don't believe they would do.
And it's like not the hood adjacent. Like, it's really like it
Well,
looked nice to me.
Based on Blaine's outfit, like his $1 million ski jacket and turtleneck and his haircut.
And they all had matching jackets during the race too.
He definitely lives nowhere near where they live.
Yeah.
So maybe they're not in the hood, but I don't think Blaine comes from the same class as like
No,
Jack
yeah.
and the rest of the kids.
no, definitely not.
Yeah.
But that whole sequence when the race does start, which is right after they go to his house to recruit him, is definitely the best part of the movie. It's about like 10-15 minutes long,
Yeah. It's
just racing
it's-
down this huge hill with
It's great.
downhill, uphill, through traffic, through construction
Through a
site,
unispan.
up
like,
and down stairs.
up and down stairs,
Yeah.
around people walking, and just definitely something that I wouldn't attempt because you would definitely just die.
Yeah, I would
doing
die
this.
like
for
2
sure.
blocks.
Yeah, I would have never even started.
Right.
But-
And as it's going, Snake and two of the preps are out in front of everybody,
Mm-hmm.
and they wind up getting across, but it's 2-1 preps,
Mhm.
and Jack and Blaine are with each other. Mitchell's kind of by himself. Everybody else is taken out at this point. One person actually got run over by a car, not bad, but
Oh
he
my
went
God.
underneath the car.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
literally got pinned by the car.
Yeah. And is when finally it's pointed out that not everybody knows where the course goes because Mitchell's like, where'd they go?
Yeah.
And decides to jump over a car
off
off the
like a
overpass.
bridge, yeah.
and down onto like a bed of a truck
Construction ramp,
and
yeah.
on a construction ramp.
I wonder how many kids went in their closet, pulled out their rollerblades, and
And
attempted
tried
to
some
do
shit.
this, and how many incidents they had at the hospital around like 3 months after this film came out.
Bunch of idiots. I'm sure.
Yeah, because kids love to duplicate or
Recreate
I used
shit.
to try and do jackass stunts.
see ridiculous. Ricky is one of the
Dumbass.
kids that we're talking about.
Well, it's one thing that I think you said when we were watching it, when the scene when he's on the half pipe. Like, how long? What does it take to actually get good at that? It takes a lot of broken bones, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
You know.
That sucks.
So it's 2-1 preps, and Jack wipes out. and you see Mitchell is trying to cross the line, and Blaine goes to take him out. Mitchell ducks. Blaine goes over the side into the river.
I really thought it was going to be concrete, not water, and I was like, oh, he's dead.
He's dead, definitely dead.
Could you imagine if they had taken a super dark turn and killed one of them? Like, death. Like, the end
Or
scene
it's
of
like-
the funeral.
That guy actually got fully run over.
Oh my god.
But then Mitchell helps Jack up, and they cross the line together, and they beat the preps in the race,
Yep.
and that's kind of how it ends. Mitchell gets the girl at the end and kisses Nikki. Wiley gets the girl, which is
Gloria.
Gloria. It just ends on that note right there, and they finally beat the preps, and Jack gets his goal of not graduating a loser.
Yep.
And 3 months later, Mitch moves back.
I was just
Three
going to
months
say,
later, Mitch
and-
moves
Nobody
back,
cares,
Nobody
and
cares
that's it.
anymore.
yeah.
And that's the movie in a nutshell. I know it kind of feels like we sped through it, but we're running short on time a little bit. It got a 29% on Rotten Tomatoes, so obviously the critics didn't like this. But watching it again at 31 as opposed to 10 to 15 years ago, I still enjoyed it as much as I did then. Like, I didn't see a lot that was wrong with it. I thought it was acted, the acting was okay.
Mhm.
I thought the story was fun. It's just one of those cool movies, kind of like Mighty Ducks type, Cool Runnings type.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And to me, it's definitely a kid's classic. And I'm going to go buy it on DVD as soon as I can find it.
On Blu-ray?
On Blu-ray, even better.
The cheesiness didn't bother me. I think that's what I liked about the movies. Like, it didn't really annoy me. Like, certain things, you're like, oh, come on. But it wasn't like an eye roll or just like to the point where you want to turn it off, which I think happens a lot. This was just like kind of goofy, and some parts were more realistic than others. But I think it's definitely something you can enjoy and just watch the whole thing.
Yeah. I
First
know.
time you saw it, right?
First time I saw it, so you have the benefit of like, your 10-year-old self, your 20-year-old self, and now your 30-year-old self. But I think even, just watching it now at 29, it's really not a bad movie.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's
Decent story, like the characters are fun.
a lot of fun character, a lot of cool one-liners. Especially, I know he said a lot of things that Mitchell said. That California lingo is
Mhm.
weird to us. Like when he's on his bed pretending he's surfing, and he's like spitting like the water, spitting like a washing machine. It's just like, it's stuff that you just laugh at because it's corny, but it's funny.
Yeah. A lot of good cliches, like
Yeah.
obviously the "I'm too sexy" montage was great.
Mhm.
I don't know where they came up with all these outfits because there were so many. But should we get into our scores?
Well,
Yeah.
I know Tara didn't enjoy the movie.
It's not true. Oh my god, if I don't literally do cartwheels down the hallway after watching a film.
What did you
Chris
say?
is like,
what?
you
But what
hate
did you
it.
say about it? You said it was
I
stupid.
said you overhyped it. You were like, this is a classic and so great. I can't wait to watch it. It's so good. And I mean, I wasn't overwhelmed by it. I wasn't like, this is great. I need to buy it on DVD. Like, it's a fun movie. It's a classic 90s movie.
I think Chris is speaking with his emotions.
I thought
It's coming from the heart.
yeah, I thought the characters were okay. I actually thought Mitchell was pretty annoying for the better half of the movie, the first half of the movie. But yeah, it was cool. Like, I don't think it's anything I would watch over and over again, but I enjoyed it. It was fun. I really liked the final scene. I thought the skating was really impressive. I kept trying to figure out who was actually, like, if the actors were skating or if, like, these were, like, super professional
No, they definitely were
rollerbladers.
professionals.
So yeah, I enjoyed it, but just because I didn't do cartwheels, Chris, does not mean I did not like it.
All right, so start us off with your score then.
So it had, what, 29?
Mm-hmm.
I'll push it up to 50.
Okay.
Not bad.
I would give it like a 65.
I'll go with a 53.
Okay.
I'm gonna go kind of high with this one. I'm gonna say 70, because I definitely don't think that it deserves the critical bashing that it got.
Okay, so average score 59.5.
We'll call it a 60.
60. That's
So,
pretty
okay,
good.
I can live with that. Yeah, that's good. And that's what the audience score it got. So
Yeah,
Perfect,
I-
we're right on
we're
par.
right on point.
We got
with,
you,
with
audience.
the fans.
We got you.
But as we continue our episodes and watch all these movies, I just question more and more, like, what do these critics actually look for when they're reviewing these movies? That like these movies are just so bad to them.
They just don't like anything.
Most movies that are critically acclaimed are dumb as hell, and I'm like, I do not like
La La Land. I didn't even see it, and I just
La La
know it's
Land.
probably
I
awful.
fell asleep twice. I was like, this movie is ugh. And I
feel
love
like
Ryan
they just
Gosling
look
and
for
Emma Stone.
originality more than anything, even if that originality's not good.
Yeah, but originality according to that specific person, it's not like they've seen every single movie ever,
True,
so
that's
you're
true
going
too.
off of like your personal knowledge of movies.
I think sometimes critics' personal feelings towards an actor will affect it. So like if I hate Will Smith, I'm just gonna bash. I don't care what he's in.
Oh, nobody hates Will Smith.
Well, yeah, I definitely don't. That was that was the first thing that came to my head. But I feel like they take their like personal vendettas out on actors or directors.
And looking at some of the reviews here, this guy from efilmcritic.com, he said it's a fad flick that has lots of skateboards and literally nothing else.
There wasn't even that many skateboards in the movie.
Yeah, skateboards.
Oh,
no.
There's like
I
two.
remember
Just
those
the
three
kids.
kids. Those
Yeah,
three
just
little
the kids.
kids.
Again, if you go through what fans reviewed about this movie, I mean, it's 4.5 stars, 3 stars, 2.5 stars, a lot of favorable stuff. So to me, this makes this a cult favorite.
Sure.
I know Tara says that's my favorite saying. It's cult classic.
Calls everything a cult.
But that's what this podcast is
Gonna
about.
Chris is gonna start a cult
Movie
about
like
cult
came out
classics.
last
Okay, well, this is a cult classic town. Like,
But it is.
But it is.
But it is. I mean, that's just.
On that note,
Are you gonna say Spider-Man: Homecoming is a cult classic?
it should
Came
be.
out yesterday.
I really liked it.
No, because that's going to be both a
And
critical
mainstream.
and financial mainstream success. I mean, this movie. Did we mention how much it made? It was the budget was 2.6 million. It made 2.9 million.
Hey, at least they made
So
a little money.
They made a little bit of a profit, but over the years, this isn't a movie that has been forgotten about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they even, as I was doing my research, they did an interview with Shane McDermott, 20 years later. So it's a movie that people still care about.
Yeah, it's still on his website everywhere. His real estate website.
Go check them out, guys.
Right.
Yeah, go see it.
And
Definitely-
see this movie when you're
definitely
in the
Not
check
go
this
90s.
out.
see it. Check it out.
All right, so we got to go. We're getting the wrap-up cue here, so we got to go. So thank you again for listening to the Recount podcast. Go watch Airborne. Tell us what you think on our Twitter handle. What is it?
Oh, the Instagram?
Instagram comments.
At the Recount podcast.
All right. So signing off.
Later, guys.
Goodbye.
See you later.
Never forget you. Bye.